Hi, everybody. Welcome. Absolutely lovely to have you all here. We are focusing on pricing today. Might sound like a very boring topic. I assure you it's an immensely important topic and can help your business wildly. It's generally something people set and forget about and sporadically review annually or even further apart than that. It's something I want to really encourage you in this session to think really hard about. From my background, I'm the founder of Bridebook. I previously co-founded HelloFresh, the recipe kit company, and also run a venue called Heads a House. In all those businesses, thinking hard about pricing has been instrumental to the success and growth of the businesses. And I want to talk through some of those learnings. But first up, as always, since our last update, 126 new wedding businesses have joined the wedding industry. It's the best industry in the world. We give you an absolutely enormous welcome. Good luck. We are all roaring you along. We're an amazing community as an industry and wish you great success. So the agenda of today, talking about pricing, there are three key things. You're going to hear me bang on about these relentlessly: segmentation of your pricing, dynamics of your pricing, and display of your pricing. Then we'll finish with some shout outs to the industry. And I'll dive straight in. But first up, why do you need a pricing strategy? So we work with tens of thousands of venues now with Bridebook, and there's nothing more that sort of gives me the chill when I'm giving me the chills even when I'm chatting with a venue, might be having a difficult time, and I see just a completely flat pricing or pricing that hasn't been thought that much through. And I think people often just think about pricing being, how do I sort of charge people as much as possible and get away with charging people as much as possible? I don't agree with that at all. Having smart pricing really helps your customers as well, really helps your business, really helps them have confidence, really helps have a really good symbiotic relationship and not end up in this scenario where you think your adversaries and things like that. It actually brings a load of trust. And I'm going to talk through all of this. So it's not only going to maximize your chance for securing business and doing it in the most profitable way, but also allows you to maximize your bookings and secure the most business as possible. So something really, really important. I would recommend people thinking as far out as possible. At our own venue, Headser, just had a kickoff meeting on Monday to start thinking about our 2026 pricing, which we haven't set yet. We already have couples inquiring for those dates. We want to make sure we get that pricing set in stone and thinking about it so we can start securing business, but also because it sets you up for what 2027 is going to be like and all those years ahead. And we've had a lot of learnings of getting it wrong. And hopefully I can share lots of those learnings that we've luckily learned from. And a really important thing on your pricing strategy is it's going to be unique to you. I'm going to give you some broad lessons here and our learnings and sort of frameworks, but it's all going to be very different for yourself. Are you a business just doing weddings? Is weddings the most important part of your business? Are you a business with an empty calendar trying to grow? Are you a business with a full calendar and trying to a full weekends, let's say, trying to move people into the midweek? Do you have lots of different cultural business nearby, which often Asian weddings will happen more often on Sundays? That's going to make your Sundays busier than perhaps other locations. All of this is going to be unique to you, but I really would encourage you to think of all these different items so you can do the most informed decision. So the first piece, these are these three things. I said I'd talk about them a lot. Segmentation. It's about how to group your prices. I will not let anyone leave this call with them thinking that just having one price for the whole year is a good idea. I would argue forever that I strongly disagree with that. So there's how to group your prices. Then on the dynamics, and this is something people don't think about too much. This is a bit about human behavior and behavioral economics. Actually, studied economics as my degree. I was then a banker once, so I've studied lots of this stuff once upon a time. And then thinking about how to display your pricing. This is something we obviously have loads of experience with Bridebook and seeing how our couples interact. We surveyed thousands of our couples. Hopefully you've all read lots from our UK wedding report. We did the last few, we did our engagement season report was December update, and January was the wedding report itself. There's a huge plethora of information there, over 100 slides. Make sure you dive into it. But we're going to dive into these three. So kicking off, segmentation, how to break your pricing down. The key thing to think on this is on seasonality. So from all our data, last year, we helped plan over 178,000 weddings in the UK alone. That's about 71% of all marriages. So you have a huge amount of data. We can see this seasonality. And I'd highly encourage people to think about having 3 seasons, which is really your winter season, where it's very quiet. We generally see that from November through to February or March. Then there's the summer peak, which generally runs from June to September. And then you have those shoulder months, which are generally April and May and October. People want to move those a little bit. That are the in-between months. And having those 3, that's what you see wedding demand sort of drops into those 3 buckets. Then if you move into the weekday, there are also these buckets again. Saturday is still the most popular day to get married of the year, but less than half of weddings happen on a Saturday now. So this is the first time ever. Actually, it's now 49% of weddings ahead are going on Saturdays. So 51% are spread through the rest of the days. Friday's the next popular date. Sunday's the next popular after that. Thursday's actually the next after that. And then you've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So you have these sort of 2 axes of the seasons through the year and the popularity through the week. And I'd really recommend, especially for venues, this is thinking how to base those. And even as a supplier, you'll be wanting to think about this and how you might weddings that take place in winter, and you'll see from the wedding market update, the wedding report, even our report, have a lower spend on average. How can you move your prices or create a way to help couples with lower budgets and be more suited to them then, and then make the most of summer, where often summer Saturdays is one, the couples with the highest budgets. The way I'd encourage people to think about this is having a grid and break down your demand, where summer Saturdays are going to have the highest propensity and willingness to spend. They're going to have your highest price. And then a midweek in winter have the lowest willingness to pay. So a Monday, January wedding versus a July, Saturday wedding. So if you took those 2 points, you want to take for your Saturday in summer, what's the highest price you think you can competitively charge and will fill up your dates. So obviously you don't want to have lots of empty dates. You want to be able to fill your dates. Well, what's that price you think is the top price you could charge for any day of the year at your venue to fill those summer Saturdays? And that will give you your high marker. Then what's the lowest price you're willing to do business at, that you can still do it profitably and cover your costs, or if you have a large fixed cost team, what are your willingness to do business at? That would be your midweek winter day, okay? And that gives you your range of prices through the year. Then you want to spread those prices across so you create this grid. And what we're going to talk about in a moment is the dynamics of helping couples understand and move around this grid. So you want it where a couple, and just put yourself in a couple's shoes, where if I'm getting married on a July Saturday, I need a good reason to be happy to move to an April Saturday. That's generally a discount. And I need an even better reason to move to a January Saturday. And the same as if I'm getting married on a July Saturday, if you want me to move to a Friday or to a Sunday or to a Tuesday, all that pricing. And then from your Tuesday in July to your Tuesday in winter, again, that pricing fills out. So you'll end up with something like this. This is purely fictitious, but where you're spreading your prices across here. It should not be done linearly. Like it should not just be the 12 boxes here, 1/12 difference between each one, high to low. Saturdays, you're going to follow the demand and follow your business. If you're a venue doing lots of corporate business, maybe your midweek's very busy and you're actually don't want to, you can hold your prices higher for midweek. If you're purely doing weddings, your midweek's probably going to be more empty and therefore you're going to have a larger discount. Again, maybe your Thursdays are very popular and you want to create your own day. Maybe you have more cultural weddings that are happening on Sundays and it might make it more competitive and you merge your Friday and your Sunday. So this is going to be up to you. But thinking through all those thoughts, so you end up with a grid. And this is where you can talk through, and again, I'm about to cover this in dynamics, but if I was selling you with this made up grid saying, well, you're looking at getting married on a Saturday. Well, actually, if you want to move to Friday, you can save £1,500 or £1,200. But actually, if you want to get married on Wednesday, you're going to save £6,500. Imagine the amazing honeymoon you could have, or that's going to cover some incredible costs. You can afford to get married at our wonderful venue, and it allows couples to find a place for them. And I am jumping around a little bit here, but it allows you to avoid discounting because couples can go and find the right price for them rather than them asking, can you do your 10,000 price for £3,000? You're able to find them an option that suits them if it works for them. Obviously, this is a larger range, likely be a bit tighter, but I do think you might find the range is about 70% from your peak Saturday to your to a Tuesday in January. The economics of this, just to quickly explain it, if you just had one price, £10,000 for every day of the week of the whole year, you will only be pricing for your summer Saturdays, and you will most likely not fill any of these other dates and have a real problem in your business. If you said, right, I'll just take a middle price and go for £7,000 for the whole year, you're going to be missing out on a lot of extra margin that you could have charged for these dates, and you'll still be excluding all this bottom right hand of the corner who can't afford £7,000. So a business, an industry that has understood this incredibly well is the airline industry. Obviously now almost every flight has a different price. If you want to fly the Friday night, nice flight with, booking it the day before is going to be really expensive. If you're booking 6 a.m. from Stansted 6 months ahead, it's going to be really reasonable. But that's where they get to fill the plane. And the most important job of any airline is to fill their plane because it's very expensive to run an airline, obviously. So think about this grid. And there were venues doing wonderful stuff on this already. Shout out to the Barnet Pengelly, shout out to Manor Hill House. Many other venues are doing this, where couples are able to journey through this. We've had great experience doing this with Headster as well, and able to give couples a lot of confidence. And that's where diving into dynamics, this is really important. So what having that pricing allows you, that choice of pricing, allows people to position themselves and anchor themselves and not just have one price out of thin air. So you've all seen this on a wine list. When you probably look at a wine list like this, your first impression is £36 for a bottle of wine is pretty expensive. Once you've actually seen the rest of the list, you say, oh, this one seems reasonable. And this is where this is sort of behavioral economics and some pricing strategy, where actually allows you to gravitate yourself. And wine lists are famous for this, rather than if there was just one bottle of wine on the menu with £51, you'd feel completely, out of your depth of, am I being overcharged? This feels very strange. I'm going to have to go and Google this and check it myself, feel uncomfortable. Whereas you can feel much more comfortable here. Oh, this looks like a very high-end wine list, and I'm obviously in a nice restaurant. Another company that's famous for this is Starbucks, just to give you a bit of context, where Starbucks, I don't know how we'd all feel about this, but Starbucks has created, always having its 3 categories. And that's where it's quite wild that a venti, it's large, is actually double the size of its small, which they call a tall. It's double the size, but it's generally only priced about 15 or 20% more. You say that's strange. How Starbucks got that so wrong? Actually, what they're using is by having the smalls here is just to give you confidence in the pricing, to increase your willingness to pay, to say, actually, well, if a small's £3, £3.25 for a medium size feels like a good price. And actually, by giving the customer that confidence to choose which one's right for them, and them doing some very quick maths in their head often, gives them that confidence where they want to sit. And also, I've said mischievously, Starbucks even created Tool Grande Invente to make it hard to compare. Well, a small coffee normally costs £1. Why am I paying £3? They've created Tool and Grande where you go, I don't know if that is a small or what does that mean? So I'd be cautious on some of that behavior, but just giving people choice, Goldilocks. Oh, I don't want the small option. I don't want the over the top option. I'll go for the one that feels just right. So having an option B, most people go for it. That's very well known psychologically. You're a supplier creating packages. If you have wedding packages, having this choice allows people to ground themselves and feel confident. What you want to be cautious on that is having too big a spread. If your top package is 20,000, your bottom package is 1,000, people feel something feels pretty strange. So getting your spacing right. And that's where, by having a nice grid, just like we've spoken about, and this is well done, Peterstone Court Hotel allows couples to navigate themselves. And that's where I've spoken about avoiding giving discounts and more couples finding what's right for them. So you'll never bring up EasyJet asking for a discount. If you want a low cost flight, the option that's well suited for you. If you're willing to pay more, you can have more options. And that's where the customer takes control. Couples like this, especially millennial couples, they're used to seeing pricing. We're about to see that in display. And not being there, just saying, here's one price. Now you've got to negotiate with me. Millennials and Gen Z especially do not like confrontation and negotiation. They're not used to that. You see that in cars now, where people want to buy cars online. They feel very nervous, anxious, turning up to a dealer and trying to negotiate a price. That's uncomfortable. They want to see, right, here's this choice. It's really transparent. We're about to talk about this in display. Right, what suits for us? Great, we can afford an August Saturday, or actually, wow, we're very happy to get married in spring, and we're happy with a Thursday. Let's go for it. We're going to get a great deal, and fills them with a lot of confidence and allows you to spread your demand. The biggest difficulty we all have as wedding businesses is generally, or for most suppliers and most venues, you can only do one wedding in a day, and you only have 4 July Saturdays to sell and 4 August Saturdays. And to be a successful business, you need to move demand into the midweek, out of those peak months, and fill your calendar, just like filling up an airline. It's easy to do the Friday night flight. They need the week all filled, or a cinema, or all these businesses with high fixed costs. That's where having a range of prices allows people to move around, find themselves, feel confident, and it's very, very productive for your business. So on to display, this is keeping your prices clear, simple, and transparent. We've done lots of wedding market updates talking about Gen Z and the importance of trust and relationship, and they've grown up in a world of huge transparency. They've had the internet from when they were born. They expect to see prices everywhere. They don't expect to be negotiating on stuff and things like that. They want that trust. And in a wedding, trust is immensely important, because obviously are trusting you the most important event of their lives, an important moment of their lives. So from all our data from Bridebook, we can see showing pricing is immensely important. A previous generation, lots of businesses would say price on application. That means I can talk to them and position pricing just for them. That scares off most people today. We see businesses with pricing get 4 times the number of inquiries. So I strongly advise against price on application stuff, or being hesitant to show stuff. You would, if you went on Just Eat and a restaurant said, we're not showing our prices, obviously you wouldn't go on that one, and that's what people are used to now. Having your pricing allows us to better match you. You know, we have loads of algorithms trying to perfectly match you. That's the goal of our business all day long. The more pricing you have, the better we can match you. And also the couples, the more pricing you have, the better they can self-match themselves and spot, is it right for us? Or it's going to be a waste of both our times, us reaching out. And that's great for you and great for them. So get all that information up there. And that's where I've just sort of covered that already. Less waste of time. It's awkward and depressing for the couple if they get excited by somewhere, when they find out it's way out of their budget. It's a waste of your time that they've, you know, you're obviously going to deal with them very nicely and talk to them, but then to say, oh, sorry, you know, we're out of your range, doesn't help anyone. So getting that transparency out there and having that range, so you're going to appeal to the most people, but you can never appeal to absolutely everyone. That'll help you have the most productive business and secure the most business. This is from one of our venues, just a quote. I can tell you the difference of having it all out there, being very transparent, has definitely resulted in much more qualified leads and a lot less time wasted on my end, which was wonderful hearing an interview with a venue the other day. And this is where transparency, again, building trust, the one of having transparent prices allows couples to navigate themselves, and that fills you with a lot of choice, a lot of trust by having that choice. You feel in control as a couple, that I'm not being pushed into a corner around something. You said, oh, I'm free here to find what suits me. Building that trust and having transparent pricing. Again, our industry sadly is tarnished with a terrible reputation that everyone's here to rip you off. Watch out, you know, prices, they're as soon as they hear weddings, they're going to triple their prices, you know, rubbish like that. And maybe a handful of bad actors do it, which is a shame on the whole industry. But by having transparent upfront pricing, it just shows, well, clearly that's not the case for me. My pricing is here. You can read it now. That's what you're going to pay. You immediately, you know, can feel it now. You're like, oh, I can relax, right? I'm talking to someone I can trust. And also helping them sharing that logic of, oh, well, if I move to April, it's going to be a bit cheaper. And if I move to a Thursday, oh, can I actually save that money? Helps them comprehend going through this process that they've never done before. They've never planned a wedding. They've probably never seen any pricing of their friend's wedding, even if they've been to a wedding before, and helping them understand, oh, this is how the industry works. Oh, that makes sense. Again, just builds up that confidence of what's included, things like that. This is from a couple, as I just mentioned. There are a lot of venues that try to hide their price. It's quite frustrating. To be honest, a fair few times when people do that, they say POA, price and application. I exclude them. That was a couple we spoke to just at the end of last year. So would really avoid that. Anything with price and application generally gives the impression this is just extremely expensive, or why they're being shady. There's something shady about this. So would steer clear of that. And all our data shows that. So 6 very quick top tips. Try not to do, you know, use round numbers. Don't do really funky numbers like that one. It's hard to do mental maths. You want it to be easy. I was just on Starbucks' one now. A small hot chocolate, £4.10. A large one's £4.70. It's double the size. Yeah, 60p more. I can have a massive hot chocolate. That's the sort of simple thought process they want you to have. They don't want to be going, wait, it's £5 for a hot chocolate. How did that happen? But that sort of simple round numbers, try not to make it too difficult. Avoid surprise add-ons. That's the one underneath. This is just on that piece of building trust. Don't overwhelm on early detail at that early stage. At that first stage, they're doing a filtering process. They're doing a sorting process. I like to think of your couples doing Guess Who, that game where you're flipping down who's right for me. They're going through being like, does that budget fit for me? No, I can't afford those ones. Where it's a huge amount of detail, they're not ready to get into that. That's going to be their second phase, where they're going deeper in the detail. Be clear about that. Again, that's something, just show, are these prices inclusive of that or excluding that? Make sure that's up front, because again, it's just going to waste a lot of your time if couples are then suddenly feeling there's a surprise, there'll be distrust. You just want that feeling of transparency. The third one on the right here, showing options, as I've mentioned, I think it's immensely important for all those pieces I've said, but just feel that, feel walking around a lovely department store where you're free to browse, and the different experience of someone hounding you or in a pressurized market stall, just the different experience you want. Feel relaxed, I'm browsing, I feel comfortable, it's a really nice experience. I've got some questions, someone's here to help me, not someone's trying to rip me off. And that choice, even though they're doing this on their sofa themselves, seeing transparency and choices just feels liberating for them. And provide price guidance, share ranges. You can do that on Bridebook. Our prices go from around this to that. You can also add into Bridebook, normally the average spend of a total wedding our couple spend with us is X. We can help you match with those couples, but giving couples a steer, not them having to do the most detailed mathematical exercise to figure out if you're a good fit, helping them have that guidance. And finally, a major tip is the difference between free upgrades and discounts. And I think people often miss this. I've said, imagine you have £100 magnum of champagne. If you, and it's worth £100, you charge £100 for it. Giving it to a couple for free, let's say it costs you £25. It only costs you £25, and they've got £100 of value. Where discounting your venue price, £100, or your photography package, £100, takes, even let's say you even gave them the bottle of champagne. Immediately, all of that comes off the bottom line, comes off the revenue. You're not making any, you're making a much larger cost. So giving free upgrades, giving add-ons, being able to be generous, really generous with stuff that doesn't cost you that much. Let's say you're a photographer, giving an extra hour of time at the end of the evening or after the first dance. That might be something that will have a very high perceived value, but actually the relative cost to you might value as quite, as less. Being able to add that on, things like that, is so much more valuable and efficient to your business than giving discounts. Again, choice allows you to avoid discounting as well, because couples find the right pricing for them rather than you always having to discount yourself. So to summarize, we have 1 minute and then I'll run into some shout outs. Segmentation. Think about how to do that grid, the demand and that flow of the seasons and the days of the week for your business. Then think about the dynamics, how couples can move through those prices and feel in control themselves, and then display how to give that trust and transparency and that clarity so they feel in a very safe place to navigate around, be like, great, this venue looks wonderful for us, this business looks wonderful, there's this supplier, this all makes sense. And you get through that huge hurdle of right, this could be the one. That's what we're trying to help you get through. On Bridebook, we're building stuff constantly to do this. You can add, we've just put some pieces in here, Morgan James photography. You can add all your special offers showing off. If you've got seasonal offers available, there are 3 days left for this one. Are there late last minute dates? Rise Halls, they're doing this. They've got a special midweek offer now for 5 weeks to go. Summer 24, they're doing upgrade of canapes. Again, this is a great bonus and upgrade we were just talking about, rather than taking stuff out of their margin. And couples can always filter for deals and discounts. Obviously, in a cost-conscious world we're in at the moment, this is very popular. So putting options out there will attract a lot of attention. And if you need help with your pricing grid, always reach out for us. Just email us hello@bridebook.co.uk or reach out to your account manager. We're here to help and very experienced in this. So very quickly, some shout outs. The most reviews, we're always encouraging people with the reviews. Our bronze medal, well done, Rebecca Conway Photography, you got 13 reviews in the last 30 days. Dan Walters Creative, you got 15 reviews, well done. And Century Club, well done with 17 reviews, really fantastic to you and the team. Well done to Folkerton Mill in South Lanarkshire in Scotland, who are doing some amazing stuff on sustainability. They're avoiding single-use plastics. Pieces like this we've spoken about before is a great way to build connection, rapport with your couples and do something really meaningful. And it's great to see that. Bastille de Rijon en Provence, in my best French accent, they've been holding the highest profile score since they joined a year ago in France. So really well done, a felicitation to you. Thank you, many of you, for your Trustpilot reviews. We absolutely love them. We send every single one around the team. So really, really appreciate them and do someone. And the greatest news since our last wedding market update, we have a new member of the Bridebook team, baby Lexi, my daughter. And kindly, I had a few messages from you, was born just before Valentine's Day. She is already on the marketing for Bridebook, my proud daughter. But she is with us, and I'm sure she'll be a prop in many wedding market update ahead. We have many of these updates, so do look through the old ones. They're on Spotify, they're on YouTube. We've covered really detailed topics. If you're trying to understand Gen Z or how engagement season works, or the biggest learnings from the wedding market report, our wedding report even, do watch those back. And a big thank you. Sorry I've run over. We've got time for some Q&A. I've seen them coming in. In terms of package pricing, you have to have one that's really high to make the client steer to the one you want. Assuming you have 3 packages, how much more expensive should the top one compared to the middle one from your point of view? So I think that's where you want to be realistic. Do not just create a mad fictitious price, because people can do mental maths and figure out this is just not this is a ripoff, to be honest. So I think you want to work out what's realistic, but for maybe the top 10% of your audience. So if you're doing a wine list, having a £5,000 bottle of champagne is just going to make Pizza Express look ludicrous, or whatever it feels on their menu. But working out, oh yeah, some people will be here for a celebration. We could probably have maybe a £80–90 bottle of champagne is reasonable, and that will be some good anchoring. And I'm not a specialist in wine menu pricing, their consultancies just for that. But I'd roughly think you'd want your, if your option B was what you're looking for, I'd be surprised if your highest price package would be more than double that ever. This is all anecdotal. I think that would be surprising if you're above that. It depends what you're doing. I could imagine it being if your middle price was 10, maybe your higher package should be, maybe it's your higher package should be around 15 and your lower package around 5. But it would need a lot more thought, and I don't actually know if you're a venue or a florist or a cake maker. They'll all be based on how much your fixed costs are and things like that. But you don't want it too close together, so you have some choice, and you want something that is very aspirational for maybe that top 10%, entry level for maybe the early 20%, and you want something that suits the majority of your audience as your middle price. What conversion rate is generally expected from a show round? This is from Carrie. Generally see a good venue will convert more than half of its show rounds. So that's where they've pre-qualified the show round. So you want to have a good interaction with them beforehand. That could be either they have a lot of information on Bridebook and on their site, so the couple can be informed when they arrive. If they're turning up and you've never even told anyone your pricing, your conversion rate is going to drop a lot, and I suspect you're going to waste a lot of your time. So you should be aiming for a 50% show round, conversion rate from show rounds is like a great marker. I think 30% is still sort of 1 in 3 is very good, or is good. But I think you want to be around the 50% mark. Do you see benefits of going sole caterer? The economics of having a sole caterer, often venues that have outside catering get about a 10% commission if they're charging commission to their caterers. Moving to sole catering, we've had experts before study this, you'll go to about 20%. So economically, it makes a lot of sense. The risk is you obviously have a narrower audience. So at our own venue, Hedsa, which is probably the largest number of recommended caterers in the country, we have 28 recommended caterers. We do not have sole catering. So we have the range from the Mandarin Oriental all the way to some wonderful local caterers and sustainable caterers, and a huge range of cultural catering. That obviously gives us a wonderful broad reach, where if you want fantastic, halal catering or Jamaican catering, Caribbean catering even, we've got that choice. It's not us, not the internal caterer trying to do that. Also, for an early stage business, by not having sole catering, not having in-house catering, allows you to have lower fixed costs. That's if you were going to bring in-house catering. If you're going to have in-house catering. If you're just having a sole caterer, obviously you're going to have a closer relationship and work more closely. Thanks, Maria Campbell, for our shout-outs on my little one, on Lexi. I'd ask anyone who's on, if you haven't managed to send us a Trustpilot whilst you're on, you open your phone and scan this, I would be enormously grateful. I set it up so Lexi can even give a bit of pressure, but we enormously appreciate our Trustpilots, mainly because we send them to all the Bridebook team, especially name check anyone if you can, because we do amazing shout outs internally. Bridebook team work their socks off supporting everyone, and it makes a massive impact just for motivation. So anyway, Lexi's already being used as a prop. I warned that, but there we go. What is the Manor Hale House have asked, what's the benefit? I'm going to keep going. Do drop off if you have to go. I'll try and answer as many as I can. What's the benefit of connecting Instagram? How does it work? So on Bridebook now, you can connect your Instagram account to your Bridebook profile. That means all your latest Instagram posts will appear on your Bridebook profile. That's a great way, one, for you to be a bit lazy, and all your latest content will show on Bridebook, so your profile looks fuller. It helps you get boosted in our algorithm because you've got a very up-to-date profile. It also means couples can see your I want to say alive, but vibrant. They're often working out, is this business still active, and things like that. Is a thought that will be in a couple's head when they see, wow, you're posting on Instagram, you've done some great posts recently. That's just more of that 360 view of building trust and getting excited. Will you be making any changes to how prices are shown on our profile? Yes, we are continuously working on that. The main source of what will create changes is us talking to couples. We talk to our couples constantly. We want to help them understand a massive problem as couples enter the industry. They get engaged and they have no idea how much a wedding costs. How should I compare a dry hire venue to a per head catering venue? They really struggle with that. And that's where we want to help them do that. How many users at the moment are filtering by price? I wouldn't have exact numbers, Julia, but it's a very popular term, a filter. And as we know, venues that don't show pricing get 80% less inquiries. So that's how important price is. So even if they're not filtering it, every single couple's looking at it. As a wedding venue, should we include the range of prices per guest or add the range to the total package prices for a Bridebook profile? So have a look what makes most sense for you. We have different options, but generally I'd say under the package pricing, put in your package pricing, and then in the details, show this is for 70 guests, additional guests, from 80 pounds ahead of your pricing is. So they have that sort of first price, and try not to have too much complexity, but it depends how complex your pricing is. If you can show it in an uncomplex way, show as much as possible. What percentage increase is suitable per year on venue hire, catering, drinks package? Should we always go up each year? Well, what we've seen is the average spend of weddings. The best thing to look at is our wedding report, which shows average wedding spend is continually going up each year. Couples are expecting prices to go up. We all know prices have gone up. So I would expect your prices to continue going up unless there's some huge change in the economy. What you want to look at is how your demand filled this year. And that's where I'd look really closely at your pricing. So if you had all your Saturdays sold out, but you didn't sell a single Friday, my gut would be your Fridays are too high, and perhaps your Saturdays could be increased in price. So that's where I wouldn't just do broad brush, put everything up 10%. You might be able to say, well, actually, this can go up 20%, and this I need to reduce 5%. So look through everything like that. Try and talk to previous couples, but most of all, try and look at your data. Thank you, Crystal from Astridge House. I'm glad it's been useful. Layla Appleby, with your external caterers, do you give couples the catering prices, including all the extra costs for staffing? We find this varies massively for caterer. So we don't provide our caterers third-party pricing. Our couples reach out to the caterers that look well suited to them. We have a good brochure actually that helps them show, right, Mandarin Oriental is obviously sort of more expensive, and era, and we'll help guide them. Our team will help guide them a bit, but then they will reach out and get in conversation with their caterers. It is a challenge, which we think we want to help solve over time. That comparing prices is really challenging in the industry, but it's something at this stage we want to help solve with Bridebook over time. But at this stage, we connect, as Heads are our venue, we connect the couples to their caterers, and they're used to talking through couples and giving them an approximate quote at the start, just so they can get the ball rolling. We're at Crook Barn. We are finding couples are focused on bespoke packages. Should we focus on this more than our packages? So bespoke packages, I'm guessing that means more blank canvas, so creating it all themselves rather than going with your packages. So probably have to think of that one a little bit. My first guess, my first thoughts would be if they're all moving away from your current packages to bespoke packages, your packages probably aren't that well packaged. Sorry, repetition. You want this to feel, we hate the word package, to be honest. You want it to look curated and hand-picked, and we've used our expertise to put together some really good options from all our experience. If you want the blowout wedding, this is a wonderful option, and we know all these suppliers incredibly well, and we know you're going to have a brilliant wedding. And if you want something smaller, here's a wonderful option for that, rather than it being gold, silver, bronze, 3 canapes, 4 canapes, 5 canapes, where couples want personalization. That's what all our Gen Z talk was about. So trying to make it feel very bespoke, feel more bespoke than them having to create something themselves. I'm trying to think of some better examples, but I'd look at that. If no one's booking your packages, your packages probably just feel too generic, and you want to brand them up a bit more, name them, have some feeling behind them, have some wonderful content about them, have some couples who've had your packages create some content, say why this was wonderful, write about the suppliers included in your package and why they stand out and why they're special. So it's not just, oh, here's the silver package, and people go, oh, this is my wedding. I want the Hamish package. How do we link our social media accounts with Bridebook so the brides can see the posts? That's in your in the Bridebook platform. You'll see a connect with Instagram. I think it's on the right-hand side. If you can't find it, just message hello at Bridebook even, or a message or account manager, and one of the team will tell you very quickly. And fine, Manor Hill House, will Bridebook be adding an automated response feature? So we already have templates. So a few different pieces that already exist. If you look at the bottom of where you reply to a message, your inbox, you can set up pre-formatted templates that are also smart templates. So they'll put the couple's name in and all their details in. So that allows you to respond very quickly. You can also upload instant brochures. So when a couple requests your brochure, it can reply instantly to them, which couples really enjoy. You also still get all their details and everything, so you can follow up. But maybe it happens midnight on a Saturday. Well, great, the couple gets a reply and you can follow up with them the next day or hopefully on Monday. But we'll always be improving, so do keep sending feedback. So I think that's it. Sorry, I have sped along as always. If there is any last question, do enter it in. Otherwise, we will wrap it up there. Well, thank you all. It is an enormous appreciated having so many people on here. I hope it's been helpful. Do join the next one. We're here to help your businesses thrive and thoroughly enjoy doing that, and always want feedback to how we can do it better. Speak soon, and wishing you a great rest of the week. All right, bye-bye.